For more on this, Jan and Frank. Are you all right, Frank? Rob Dawson joins. Hello, Rob. How are we? It's been a couple of days since we've had a go at Ten Hag. Let's start again, shall we? What will it take? What will it take for him to be sacked?
Well, we're certainly reaching that point that United are desperate not to sack him. They're going to give him as much time as they possibly can, but these results just can't carry on. The next 3 games they've got are against Fulham, Copenhagen and Luton before the international break. Obviously, all 3 of those games are very winnable for Man United to expose just how bad this team are. And it feels a little bit like the end game with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that they were struggling under him. They didn't make a change during an international break. They let him play or manage against Watford, who were bottom of the league at the time, hadn't won all season. The idea was that United would win that game and it would trigger a mini revival. He went there and lost 4-1 and Solskjaer was sacked that night. And I'm not suggesting that Ten Hag will be sacked if they lose at Fulham. But if they were to go there and lose heavily, it would certainly give Man United a very, very big decision to make, because although they don't want to sack him, they want it to work out for Erik Ten Hag. This run of form just can't carry on.
It's almost like we're just going around in a vicious circle with every manager these days, Rob, who takes over at Manchester United. And we seem to be at that stage again here with Ten Hag. Obviously, recruitment and players we've talked a lot about. Does the manager actually matter at this point?
Well, I just don't know if Erik Ten Hag was to be sacked. I don't know who would want that job. You know, it's turned into a graveyard for good players and good managers. They all turn up at Man United thinking that they're going to be the manager to turn things around, and they just can't do it. And there are questions to be asked about the ownership, about the recruitment over the last 10 years, about the squad. The problem is, though, when things get tough at football clubs, the guy that pays the price is the manager. Now, Erik Ten Hag is a very, very good manager, clearly. He had a good first season at Man United. He did very well at Ajax. But he's in that cycle again now at Man United, where he just can't get a tune out of the players he's got. And we saw it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he was sacked. It happened to Jose Mourinho, another good manager. He was sacked. Louis van Gaal had a go. He was sacked. United is a very, very hard club at the moment to turn around. There's lots of money there to be spent. They sign very, very good players. But whatever happens, they just seem to end up in this cycle of disappointment and poor results. And ultimately, the guy that's going to pay the price this time is the manager, if he can't turn it around very, very quickly.
It's interesting to see when we talked about situations in the past with players who will get you sacked. I remember Jurgen Klinsmann was on, we were talking about Leroy Sané, that you can't rely on them.
Yeah.
You look at this Manchester United team, and it seems to be full of them.
Yeah. Well, that's why the question, I guess, for those that want Ten Hag not to be sacked, is who could do a job here with what they've got at their disposal. And it's very difficult not to, and certainly a lot agree with that, because there's no character in this. For me, again, questionable character. So there really isn't a straight answer. There really isn't, because you've got a bunch of players who don't look as though they can be motivated. And so how can you really get rid of the guy who, with 4 previous managers of absolute quality, couldn't do it either? Why do you lay the blame at him?
Rob, I just want to pick up a word that Steve used there, an apathy at the Old Trafford crowd, which is something I don't think we've ever used, really, have we?
No, and Stevie's right. And I was in the ground last night, and there wasn't a great deal of anger there at the result. I think it's just they're just resigned to this being the way it is now. They've seen 10 years of this. They've seen managers come and go. They've seen players come and go. There's always that little brief spell of hope where you think this next guy is the guy to turn it around. He's the guy to bring back those Sir Alex Ferguson glory years. And it never works out. And I think the fans desperately, desperately want it to work out for Erik Ten Hag. But they know that he's battling against things that other top coaches couldn't solve either. And so when you get a result like Sunday against City, where you can put that down to, there's no shame in losing to City, that's probably the best club team in the world. And then you turn up 4 days later against Newcastle, not even Newcastle reserves, because they rested a load of key players. And the same thing happens. And I'm sure that a load of United fans who are travelling down to London for the Fulham game on Saturday are fully expecting the same thing to happen again. they're always going to support their football club. It's ingrained in most of them. But they know that this group of players in particular cannot be trusted. They can't be trusted to win any game. This is a team that look capable of losing every single time they step foot on a football pitch, regardless of who it's against. It could be Fulham on Saturday. It could be an under-9 team. And they are capable of losing every time they step on the pitch. And the fans know that. And that's why you get apathy in a stadium.
Your boy Ollie's loving this, and Ian.
But I think that is important when we do the judgment of Manchester United, that we come to a time where we analyze the different things here. But first, building a club, United are in League One. They are terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. We all know that. We say that all the time. But that is not the only thing that's happening here. Because I've been a big fan of Ten Hag. I like it. I like his character. I rate him. I rated him from the start he got there. But the way the team is organized now on the pitch, that is not on Glazer. That is on Ten Hag. We have to be honest with that. That has nothing to do with the owners. Because yes, they have something in common, all these managers. If they have Van Gaal, if it's Mourinho, if Ole, and now Ten Hag, they have the same owners. But if I'm going to be the devil's advocate, Ferguson had Glazer as well. He won 5 Premier League titles in the Champions League. So let's just do the analyze here. And I think that a lot of the things that Ole and Ten Hag has in common is that they took over a sinking ship. They sorted it out for a while. But when they then were to be Manchester United, that Manchester United going to dominate games, that didn't happen. So let's try to do the analysis on different things, because we can mix up everything here. Anthony is on Ten Hag. Onana is on Ten Hag. Johnny Evans back is Ten Hag. Lindelöf on the left back is Ten Hag. Nothing to do with the Glazers.
Yeah, and you can say that, but players are grown-ups. They're not kids. They're put by the coach, of course, but they're on the field. They have their own intuition. They have their own talent. Their own football, and they have to show that to the world, and they're not doing that. You can change. I mean, the biggest example was last season and the season before with Chelsea, where we changed we changed the coaches, Tuchel, then Graham Potter, then Frank Lampard came, and now we have Pochettino. And we have always the same problem, and you can have different class of coaches, you still have the same problem. And that's the same thing that you have in Manchester. Yes, the Glazers are not responsible for everything. You have the recruitment cell, of course. Yes, Mr. Ten Hag is responsible for some part of it, but come on, the players, be grown-ups. Start thinking about saving your own sake by saving the club and do what you have to do, being professional. They're not right now. And I said that already yesterday. I'm going to keep on saying that because they play for Manchester United. They haven't been picked like randomly. It's because they have talent. So show it to the crowd, to the fans.
Who's going to be the next manager, Rob?
What a question that is. I mean, obviously, it would depend on what they wanted to do. If Ten Hag goes mid-season, the choices are to try and appoint a permanent successor, which is obviously very, very hard to do mid-season because you would assume that man is being successful at a different club. The easier option is to appoint an interim, a manager who's out of work. They did that when Solskjaer was sacked and they appointed Ralph Rangnick as an interim, which was a disaster. When it was Mourinho's turn to be sacked, they appointed Ole. Obviously went very well, so well that he got the top job. If Ten Hag was to be sacked and they were looking for an interim, you would think that it would have to be an out-of-work manager, and then you would look at candidates like Lopetegui. Now, Lopetegui's out of work. He's left Wolves in the summer. United interviewed him when they appointed Ten Hag, so they know absolutely everything about him. He left Wolves and he stayed in England, so he is around. It wouldn't take an awful lot to make that appointment, but it's whether United want to go down that road or whether they want to look at a permanent successor. If you're talking about someone permanent, you're looking at, I don't know, managers like De Zerbi at Brighton. Nagelsmann, I think, has got a contract with Germany until the Euros, and his future beyond that is up in the air. But again, though, you go back to the conversation we had right at the start of this. If you're De Zerbi or Nagelsmann, do you actually want this job? United is still one of the biggest football clubs in the world. But if you're De Zerbi and you think that you've got a pretty good setup at Brighton and you're getting lots of plaudits, you're looking at Man United and thinking, do I really need all that? If a big club is going to come calling, then maybe I'll wait and get another job. genuinely, I think that Man United is obviously a lucrative job for any manager. But if you're deserving, do you genuinely want that job, knowing what's gone before?
Does it matter, Shaq? Does it matter who you bring in? Are you so far down that rabbit hole of doom that no one can help you?
I think it makes a difference certainly in the short term. And here's the issue with Manchester United. While everybody can argue as to exactly what's the root cause of this apathy, to use Steve's word, around the club, the only thing we know for certain is, well, sitting from a Manchester United perspective, this can't continue. Something has to change. I'm saying that with my Newcastle hat on, I'm loving every minute of it. But this certainly can't continue. So something has to change. And right now, given the Glazers' positioning, they aren't going too far right now. Given a lot of the upper boardroom, they are still waiting to figure out what their own futures are. And as we know, and as time has taught us, you can't just change an entire squad. So unfortunately, Ten Hag is the easy short-term fix for what is a very deep-rooted and long-term problem. To the point that Rob's saying, whether De Zerbi wants his job, I mean, doing a wonderful job at Brighton, but Manchester United are still Manchester United.
What about Potter? Potter's around?
Potter's around?
Potter in about?
Why would De Zerbi not take the Man United job?
Because he's got everything going nicely at Brighton.
Brighton, hold on a second. Remember, just think about what you said there. Brighton, a Man United. Brighton, a Man United.
Wait.
If I think I'm a coach, tell you what if I turn this around?
But why? What is to suggest you can turn it around?
Well, he believes in himself. He thinks he's got.
But we've discussed.
You look at the team on paper. You look at the names. You look at on paper. It looks not bad.
No, it doesn't.
To that question, Dan.
Well, so wait a minute. So
Rashford, you said, was a one-season wonder. Anthony, you've already had a go at. Bruno, you're not a fan of. Casemiro's old.
That's what they're producing now.
No, but that's what I'm
a coach.
Suddenly, you've picked out of the sky that this Manchester United squad is good enough.
Nobody would ever get a big job then.
What do you mean?
Well, because you don't get rid of managers when the team's doing well, do they?
But there's still something there, isn't there? There's still a flip.
I'm a coach. I'm De Zerbi. Look, I'm a great coach. I can look at these players. Casemiro. Look at the
he can't run anymore. His legs are falling off.
Shut up a minute. Look at the career. Hold on a minute. Rashford last year.
Oh, there we go.
Rashford last year. I can do it. I can get this guy back playing again.
Right.
Harry Maguire. Tell you what, if he's playing for England, I can sort him out.
Oh.
I've got Varane.
Yep.
I can build a defence around this guy.
Okay.
I've also got Anana, who's had a terrible start. But I'll tell you what, there's a reason why the bottom.
Right.
I mean, that's how the coach. That's how a good coach is thinking.
But
De
you have to
Zerbi,
start.
I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy at Brighton. He might never get an opportunity to manage a team the size of Manchester United. That's the other question.
Where does he go after United then?
Well, in his brain, he's going to do the job.
You genuinely think...
Seriously? So you think if I'm a coach and I believe in myself, I'd rather stay at Brighton than go and be coach of Manchester United?
But it's not an either-or, is it? No. It's not like I have to go now. It's like, why don't I stay at Brighton and see what happens in the future?
No, I just said it.
No.
How often do you get the opportunity to manage a club the size of Manchester United?
Which is in a state.
Hold on a second. By your argument, nobody worth a jot will take the job.
No, that's what we've said.
Stevie got to take the job.
Stevie, look who's free.
Well, go and get Lopetegui again. There's a reason he got the sack at Wolves.
Well, I'm not in charge of firing.
Well, I'm just telling you. You're coming up with all the reasons why nobody or why somebody like De Zerbi wouldn't take the job.
So why is Zidane knocking on the door? Why is Zidane not there?
That's why they got Ollie.
But Zidane's not employed at the moment. He's won everything.
He's already said he doesn't want to manage in England. Doesn't speak the language.
But there is a big difference between De Zerbi.
Your argument is nonsense. Somebody would rather stay at Brighton than be the coach of Manchester United.
I just don't know where you've twisted this Manchester United squad.
I'll tell you what then. If you're a player at Brighton, would you go to Manchester United?
Not at the moment, no.
Of course you would.
Of course you would.
Why else would you stay at Brighton?
Man United come in for you
question.
and offer you twice the money. No, I'm
Money,
staying at Brighton
money,
because I really
money.
like it at Brighton.
That's just for money, then.
I'm really enjoying myself at Brighton.
Dan,
What, Brighton's a lovely
I'm
place.
not going to Man
On the
United,
seaside.
even though they're one of the biggest, arguably one of maybe the biggest.
Oh, look at everyone who's gone to Manchester United. They've got worse. Everyone has got worse
I
since
can
they've
walk
gone
down
there.
the pier at Brighton,
Brighton's a lovely pier.
have a nice ice cream.
Yeah,
I don't
fish
need
and
to
chips.
bother with the rain.
De Zerbi would walk backwards if he had a chance to take Manchester United. There are
course he
5 or
would.
6 jobs in international football that every manager would take on, and the chance for a coach to get into a club is when they are disorganized. Every coach will think that I can organize them and do well for them. De Zerbi would have taken it straight away. Zidane can say no because he won everything and he's a big guy who will get a big chance later. De Zerbi would take it straight away. The matter if Manchester United think that De Zerbi can do it at Manchester United, that Potter didn't do it at Chelsea.
Yeah,
that is
but-
on De Zerbi.
Again, Ian, Graham Potter thought the same. He said, okay, I had a very good situation where I am now, but I have Chelsea. Nobody can deny Chelsea. He went there. What happened?
course.
Nothing. I mean,
Yeah, but
you
still.
have. I can understand the fact that you think that it's possible to take that chance, but really, when we see the last 4 coaches who try to do something and never achieve something, when you're the coach at Brighton where you are absolutely successful, I think you wonder twice if it's the right choice to go there or not.
I said after to Sir Alex Ferguson, first in every club you do the same. You look for a copy first, a copy of Sir Alex Ferguson. That was David Moyes. Then you go out and just take a old experienced coach, that was Van Gaal. Then you go to a Mourinho who you think can win you anything anyway. Then you see back who was with Sir Alex Ferguson. Who can we use? At that time, that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He came in and did well. So they go for Ten Hag. He was a successful coach. They will take the job, Frank. Graham Potter, if you asked him now, he will take the Chelsea any day. Because in your life, and I'm with Stevie on that one, there is not many chances you have to get the big clubs. You will never get a big club
called
if they're
ego.
great.
That's called ego. That's not called taking things by perspectives.
No.
That is
All
called
right,
human
this is
being.
going to be a shorter Manchester United segment today, and then Stevie ruined it by saying things. Thank you very much to Rob.
I got shot down.
Thank you very much.
I think somebody bust your balloon.
Well, because Jan agrees with
I think you
you.
bust
I
your
thought we were
balloon.
moving on. Let's move.
He started bubble bursting bubbles.
Move on.